Joining us now, Pollster and strategic communications expert, Lee Carter. Lee, it is fantastic to see you. You can dive into whatever part of the pool you would like here. But one thing that stood out to me, almost all Republicans, 89%, and 2/3 of independents believe the U.S. is winning this war. More than half of Democrats say Iran is winning. So regardless of what the president does, the Democrats have lost their minds. And I'm not dismissing how people feel about inflation and gas prices, but that is 8 ways crazy that they think 56% believe Iran is winning.
It is amazing to me that 2 different sets of people can see the same information, same data, same set of facts, and come away with such a different takeaway. And that's the way it is with Republicans and Democrats right now. But the thing that I watch the most is those independent voters. And those independent voters are with the president on this war, and they are believing that we're winning. The other thing I have to say, I mean, the polling looks really, really bad for the president at this moment. When you look at the economy, you look at gas prices, you look at cost of living, all of that should indicate that he's in a really, really bad place. But historically on midterms, this happens. Historically on midterms, the opposing party should be light years ahead of where they are. Right now, depending on the poll you look, there's only between 3 and 5 points between Republicans and Democrats in the midterm ballot. So despite these bad numbers for the president, it's not like people are out there saying, you know what, I think Democrats are going to do it so much better. I think a lot of people are out there saying, you know what, I think everybody is letting us down right now. 6 months is a long time. We have almost 6 months until the midterms. We could see the price turn around at the pump. People could start to feel better, and the president could win again. So I think we're a little bit too soon to be saying that this is an indicator that the president is in big trouble in the midterms.
You bring up something really interesting. It's not like people are saying, gosh, President Trump has disappointed us, but those Democrats, I think they've got a great plan. They're not saying that at all. But you bring up this time frame of like 6 months. So I look at these numbers, they're not great for the president, but they're big issues, like they're economy issues. And sometimes it takes a while for the economy to turn around after what we've been through. In your experience, does the president, do Republicans have enough time to make up enough ground to maybe swing what we can expect for the midterms?
I think they do. I mean, we're seeing huge swings in the polls and people's attitude on the economy month to month. And a lot of it has to do with the cost of goods. And specifically, I think the price of fuel is having a huge impact. If we start to see that come down, if the president gets a message that says this is where we're going, and we're not just talking about the academic measures, we're talking about the issues that people feel at their kitchen table or when they're paying their bills each month, I think there's a big chance that the president and the Republicans can do just fine. But it's going to, we're going to have to see how things play out over the next couple of months. But I don't think this is great news for the Democrats either. I look at that, and in some polls, the Democrats are only 1 point ahead in what they might do for the economy. It's not like people are looking at them, as you said, Brian, and saying, oh my gosh, I think they've got the way out of this. People don't think that. They're not sure where to turn. And so I'm not sure that we're going to see huge shifts in what we're expecting to happen in the midterms.
Because if a Democrat tries to appear upset about high gas prices, well, you want high gas prices because 2 years ago you were spending $1 trillion trying to force us to drive electric vehicles. You started this, Democrats, so you need to pipe down. That's a kind of, even Ken Griffin hit on this. He was like, this is just a triggering moment because Americans have been living with 6 years of this. But I want to leak really quickly. I will never, ever tell President Trump how to communicate because I'm not an idiot. But the people around him, are they doing a good job messaging on this? How could they change the messaging on the high gas prices, even higher longer-term interest rates? Mortgage rates are at like 6 3/4 right now.
I'm a little concerned that the Republicans right now are falling into the same trap that Democrats did before, which is to try to prove that the economy is okay just with academic measures. And people don't feel that. They feel it with the prices they're paying. When you see that people's income is not keeping up with inflation, they're feeling pulled, they're feeling stretched. And I think one of the things that the president and this administration and Republicans need to do is say they get it, they feel their pain, and here's how we're going to fix it moving forward. I think people are going to be willing to go along with it if they know that there's a plan in place. Right now, they just feel completely out of control. And that's really what I think people need to do, is assure voters that it's going to be okay, to bear with them. There's a plan in place. This isn't unprecedented, and things are going to get back under control shortly.
Lee Carter, always good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.